What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Game Informer Show, a weekly podcast covering the video game industry. Join us every Thursday for discussion about the latest gaming news, reviews, and exclusive reveals alongside Game Informer staff and special guests from around the industry. I'm your host, Alex Van Aken, and today I'm joined by Kyle Hilliard. How you doing, Kyle?
Hey, I'm listening to Driving Me Bananas on Spotify from the Mario movie soundtrack. I mean, not literally right now because we're recording a podcast, but it's upsetting for a number of reasons.
We're also joined by Marcus Stewart. How you doing, Marcus?
I'm feeling good. A little self-conscious because we're on video again, and
Yeah.
I can't pick my nose, can't pick my ears anymore.
I know.
I got to wear a shirt now.
Yeah, it's upsetting again.
Yeah, I have to act like a person again.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a second, but we are rounded out by the news sound himself, Wesley LeBlanc. How you doing,
Hello.
Wes? What's going on?
Excited to be back. It's been a minute.
Yes, it has. Because you were traveling the world. You went back to Japan, right?
Yeah, I was in Tokyo for no reason at all.
Oh,
Just,
Yep.
exploring the streets, eating ramen.
You went on vacation, you know?
Yeah. I did, and it was great. And I thought I was going to gain weight because I was putting back some food, but I actually lost like 5 pounds there. And I think it's just because public transportation is amazing, and 1 week of walking 30 miles in a city will do that to you.
I think their food is just less fattening, smaller portions too.
That's
You
true.
know?
But the portion
but then you just order more of it.
I was ordering very American style. Large and
Give it to me American style.
But yeah, we are, as Marcus mentioned, we are on video again. People have been wanting us to do this. It was a matter of bandwidth, and we decided, hey, if you want like the really polished version of the podcast, that's going to be the audio version. And if you want the video, you're going to have to be okay with we aren't going to cut out the uhs and the awkward pauses and stuff like that. It's going to be more of a raw experience. If you want that, go to youtube.com/the @ because YouTube changed its URLs at Game Informer Shows. So youtube.com/@ Game Informer Shows. And yeah, I hate that.
That's terrible.
Yeah, they must have started running out of like URL. I don't know. That doesn't seem like a thing you could run out of, but why else would you do it?
URLs are a finite resource.
Yeah. Why else would you? Maybe people were like, I can't have the URL I want. And so they're like, okay, we're going to add an @ symbol to really open up a whole new set of possibilities. Because the normal Game Informer YouTube channel, you don't have the @ symbol in it. It's like a moment in time where they decided if your channel was created after this date, you have to have the little @ symbol. So the second channel has that. The main channel doesn't.
Twitter thing to make it easier to integrate for like search or something.
Well, now you can like tag people on YouTube. You can tag creators, and it'll hyperlink to them. And it was part of that whole update. It's great. It's not confusing at all. But yeah, we are back on video again. If you want the polished version of this podcast, you're gonna want to go to the audio podcast services like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, which you should go and review us on. But if you want our video, our mugs, they're over on YouTube.
Alex,
I thought you meant my mug.
What?
Well, you can see now Marcus has a mug that he's holding up now.
Oh, great.
But I like that your pitch is like, if you want a worse version of the podcast, go watch it on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly.
You want to see me do this every now and then.
Raw and unfiltered.
Whoa, I can't believe Marcus. Whoa, what is he doing?
He drinks.
You're not getting that from the audio. You're confused if you're listening.
Yeah.
You'll never know what Marcus was doing.
Yeah. Thank you for allowing me to update the good folks. Let's get into some video games. Wes, you reviewed Dead Island 2 for us. Of course, you and I went out to the studio back in November, and got to meet the team that was making it. Got to play quite a little bit of it. I think like 8 hours. But now, 5 months later, you've got the full game, and you reviewed it. How is it?
I think it is a good game. And if you were looking forward to Dead Island 2 because you liked Dead Island, which I think is like the majority of people that want to play this game, then you're going to have a really good time with this game. It is more Dead Island for better or worse. I don't think it's, changing too much of that formula. You're still just mindlessly killing zombies, like thousands of zombies. I think I killed 2,400 by the time I rolled credits.
Are we talking like Dead Rising 3 levels of zombies?
No, not quite. Although 2,400 is a lot, but no, you're like individually killing each one. But yeah, it's good. It's good. Worthwhile follow up to the original game, which I think is most surprising considering we've been waiting almost 10 years for it.
Yeah. I one of my first questions going into the full game, I felt like in our preview, the writing was surprisingly good at parts. Like, it was self-aware enough to like come off in a good way. Does that carry through the full game, or is it does it drop the ball places, or how is it?
I would say it doesn't. I think the opening hours narratively are the strongest. Like, meeting some of the celebrities, going to the hotel, which you do pretty early on. That's where some of the strongest writing is. And that's because the larger narrative story hasn't begun to really unravel yet. When that starts to happen, that's when things start to go a little downhill narratively. Not to say it's like terrible, but just extremely forgettable. It
seems like they don't talk in cliches, right? Which is always like a big sign for me of like, ugh, gosh. But like, I'm only a few hours in, so Wes maybe gets worse later. But that at least is like, I was impressed by that. It's like, okay, they're not leaning on like just zombie tropes and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say it's ever like the writing is ever anything I groaned at. It's just, the first 5 hours are pretty good. Like, decently great writing. It's funny, it's charismatic, the characters are cool, and you're meeting a good bit of characters. But after that, you kind of start to meet less and less characters, or you do meet characters, but they're less actual narrative characters and more just like NPCs who give you a mission, or they're vendors. And then, I don't know, it's just like I rolled credits and I was excited to kill more zombies, but like have no desire to like necessarily have more of this world from a narrative standpoint.
Sure. Did you feel like tonally, like, was it more serious was it like too self-serious by the end, or did it kind of carry its lighter themes?
That's tough. It maintains like the light tonality that the beginning of the game has, like that stays present throughout. It is very comical. These characters are not too worried about being in an apocalypse. Like, they're definitely
the
thriving.
whole point was it was like a pulp action
exactly.
experience.
They always feel powerful. They're never too worried about dying. Things are going great for them despite everything around them. But the story does go to some like places where it's trying really hard to be serious and set up some things that I was like, this is so unnecessary for what this game is. I'm trying not to spoil anything, but like, they are clearly trying to build more of this universe, which is commendable. It's an IP that people like, but the way it's not matching the rest of the tone of the game.
Gotcha.
The weird thing for me that I'm still reckoning with and trying to figure out is Dying Light 2 was that last year?
That was last
January.
Or January, yeah.
Oh,
and I started that really being sort of hopeful that it would be like, this sounds like parkour, zombies, this seems cool. Like, this seems like I should like it, but I kind of bounced off after an hour. But this I've hooked into a lot more. And I kind of don't know why. Because it's like your abilities are like are limited compared to Dying Light, right? Like, you don't have as much traversal abilities or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I think it is the tone. I think it's like it's like post-apocalypse, but the apocalypse like just happened. And I think there's something about that weird tone of like, and the sort of the Los Angeles of it all, and like the houses still being generally like normal. I think that is just working for me more in a weird way. I don't know how you guys feel. I don't know, Marcus and Alex, if you or Wes, if you played Dying Light 2, if it's worth even comparing them. But I'm liking this a lot more than Dying Light 2, and that really surprised me.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, did you like the first Dead Island or the first Dying Light, Kyle, or the sequels your first? Like,
no, I didn't like either of them. I didn't really like any of them. So I'm not a Dead Island fan. I'm not going into this like, oh, I love that original Dead Island. The original Dead Island I played for like an hour or two, and it was one of those things where I was like technically rough. And I was like, I don't think I can do this for the whole experience. Where this feels much more solid, looks pretty good. I think the setting is cool. I was messaging Wes that early on I was having trouble finding weapons, which Wes basically was like, yeah, you're just not looking enough, idiot. Like, you shouldn't be running out of weapons. He was right than that. But so far, like, I'm having it is surprising me how much of a good time I'm having with it.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too, where I think my biggest fear, like, I'm actually more surprised because I have not finished Dying Light 2, and I love the first Dying Light, and the first Dead Island I thought was just okay. But yeah, I am a little bit more interested in finishing this one, and I'm probably put about the least amount of time. I'm about 2.5 hours into it so far. But I was afraid this game would maybe be too jokey or maybe too cynical. Like in that sort of like,
that's a good, it does. That's scary when it gets too cynical. That's rough.
Yeah, like that's like basically trying to do the sort of like GTA style satire, but like not as good, because I'm frankly a bit over that now. And with it being in LA, it was like, oh, that's 100% is going to be this. I'm going to meet a bunch of insufferable characters that are just sort of like caricatures of movie stars and stuff like. And it is that, but at least so far, it hasn't crossed that line yet where I'm like, oh, I just hate everyone I'm talking to.
Yeah.
And even picking my character, that was a big part of it, where I was looking at all 6 of them and trying to determine like who seems like the least annoying. 'Cause I don't know how much they're gonna talk. It's like,
who seems... pick, actually? I'm curious.
So I picked Amy.
Nice. Amy, yeah, me too.
Yeah, just because I was like, oh, I usually like agility and like fast characters, and also she seems just something about her, like she seems like maybe the most normal. Like she probably won't say too much stupid stuff.
I also happen to pick Amy because of the the speed and stuff like that. I was like, that's what I want.
Alex, save us. Tell us you picked someone different.
I haven't played the game yet, the full game yet, so I undecided. I picked the rock girl.
Annie?
The
Yeah.
punk rock girl?
Punk rocker?
Yeah.
Yeah,
she seems alright.
I picked her in the preview. But no, I'm going off my 8 hours of a preview build from 5 months ago. That was really polished, but
surprisingly, I'd say that's like I wouldn't be able to tell you the difference between the two. And what we played is basically the beginning of the game. Like,
oh, okay. Then I feel a little more confident talking right now, because I was, like, you never want to like go into it with I didn't want to just be talking about my preview impressions from 5 months ago. But if that's like the intro of the game, Wes, and you're pretty confident it hasn't changed much, then yeah, I I'm just like thinking back to what I played, and I was really what I liked a lot were the little side missions. I felt like they really nailed like when you go into the content creator house for the first time.
I spent so much time in there.
Yeah.
Did you see the apology on the whiteboard?
I did, yes.
Yes.
So good. It's like pause to cry here.
I didn't see that. What does that say?
It's like a YouTuber having to like apologize on camera for something, but like
it's saying like cry here.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like a script. Oh,
so good. Yeah.
I thought they nailed a lot of the environmental storytelling in that regard. At least in the opening hours, right? And I really like the YouTube vlog girl. I didn't really care about the mission that much, but like I thought she was well written, and she's one of those characters. I'm sorry, I don't remember her name, but It's the girl Amanda. Yeah, she's on the rooftop when you meet her, and you have to essentially, fight some zombies in a few different ways for her vlogging audience. And she's one of those characters, Marcus, you were talking about how I'm expecting to hate this person, right? And somehow they don't cross that line. And I felt like she was a really good example of that, where just as I felt like it could have started to be grating, they wrapped the joke up, right? And like I was out. And I felt like they so far and what like that they've kind of got that down. Wes, do you feel like, I know you said like the narrative itself, you know, kind of gets bogged down in the details of the overall story. Do you feel like the side missions and stuff kind of maintain that quality throughout the game?
I would say no. I think that is one of the better side missions.
Okay.
And there are a few others that stand out to me, but most of them are just like fine. I wouldn't go so far as to say like, oh, you're just doing silly fetch quests. Like they do put some, there's a little bit of story with each one. But most are fine or forgettable. The Amanda one is a standout one. There was another where I was going through a movie set and using like pyrotechnics and electricity and, you know, things that a movie production would use. That's cool. I was using them to kill zombies, which was fun because it was just a different type of gameplay.
I got to that thing and I didn't know exactly what was happening, Wes, and I just like turned everything on and activated all the traps and then couldn't reactivate them. So it was like
I did that too, and I
dropped and then 1,000 zombies walked through the door and I was like, come on, man.
I did that in the very first section. I know exactly which part you're talking about, and I was like, oh, okay, I see now. But I think everything you guys are speaking to kind of speaks to one of the major highlights of this game, which is the pacing throughout, just like kind of everything, like with the story, with the way it hands you content, with like killing zombies, with progression. They really did a good job like nailing the pacing because, you know, this game is about killing a lot of zombies in fun ways, and everything around that happens, but it doesn't stay too long, and it's never, I think that's why I didn't get annoyed with characters even though I wasn't necessarily vibing with them, or it's why I wasn't, you know, moaning at the story even though it's kind of forgettable. It's because like they give you those little narrative hooks just enough to get you back out there killing zombies, which is what I ultimately wanted to do while playing. So I think that's like the one that probably the thing I would commend this team most on is like they understood what they have here, which is a zombie killing simulator, and they made sure to get you into that action as soon as possible.
Yeah, and killing zombies feels good. Like that flesh system, like just seeing them just get torn apart and seeing just every bit of like intestine and organ and bones just fall out of them it's fun to see, and like it just makes me excited to use like all the different weapons, see like how is it gonna affect their body if I hit them in, you know, in a certain spot. Like you called out the Wolverine claws in your review, Wes, which is probably my main weapon right now. Like I have like electrified versions of them, and it feels so good to just like stab dudes in the face with those things.
There's like a finishing move with those where you just put your entire fist through someone's skull and it comes out the back. It is so intensely brutal.
You guys are disgusting. Can't believe you guys are talking like this.
Just trying to survive, man. It's hard out there.
Yeah.
Hollywood Boulevard. This is a dumb question, but has the Hollywood sign survived the apocalypse, West? Can you go to it, or can you see it?
You can't go to it. You can see it. It's seen better days, but like it definitely still is up. I'm pretty sure the best place to see it would actually be near the start of the game, and it's on fire and smoking.
Okay, but it's still, wait, is it on fire the whole game?
The game basically takes place like in one like go. I don't
24
moments. Yeah, I don't recall like my character sleeping or taking a break. There's no real like,
they do get knocked out a fair amount in the beginning of the game.
And there is like a day and night, but you have no real concept of like how many days has passed or what we're doing here. It kind of just feels like I started at A and I finished at B and I killed a lot
maybe
of
like a week's time.
That's probably how long it would take me to kill all the zombies in Hollywood. Yeah.
Well, like in real life. One of your primary sources of health regeneration is energy drinks. So like that's true. Maintaining the whole game.
Yeah, that would kill me. I've never had an energy drink, so I'd be struggling.
Never?
No. I'm afraid of them, honestly. I feel like it's gonna make my heart explode. I'm gonna become like Jason Statham and Crank.
Well, before you said you were afraid of it, I was gonna say the next time we're together, we should record a video of you trying sampling a few.
Just drink all the ones that whenever.
Well, like I was thinking, like little cups, you know, not like cans worth.
Oh, like a shot of.
Yeah, like a
Monster.
flight. Yeah, a flight.
But fair warning, the reason that all those energy drinks are sold in cans and you never see like glass bottles of Red Bull is because it looks like urine. So like just a heads up, it's just like a dark yellow. It's
Balls had glass, but then they colored the glass.
That's true. Good point.
Yeah.
I guess that's right.
Yeah. Well, I asked about the Hollywood sign just because there's the mild controversy about it appearing in the Horizon DLC and people being like, how on earth would that have survived after 1,000 years? And I want to see if it survived this apocalypse as well.
Good craftsmanship.
Is it like wood or metal or I don't actually
it's
know
not sturdy at all. Like it's basically just like poles with fabric wrapped around it for the most part is what I believe it is, and it's been like renovated a few times.
For some reason I thought it was like poster board.
I mean, I don't think it's that
like
far
really,
off from it.
really
Like,
thick poster
falls
board.
apart when it rains.
Does it not look like poster board? With like it's like sealed in some sort of.
It's something like I remember I was on a late night Wikipedia binge as we do, and I remember just reading about the history of the Hollywood sign one night some time ago, and being like, yeah, this thing's like pretty fragile for like a really recognizable landmark, I guess. So,
well,
like
Horizon, there's probably a fleet of robots that have been maintaining it, right? There's probably some story conceit. Right.
They designed robots specifically because they knew humanity was like, no, we need to keep this around. We got to let.
They worship this idol.
Yeah.
I'm excited to visit in the DLC, but yeah, okay. Well, it's on fire perpetually in this game, I guess. So
the game takes place like basically when the apocalypse. Well, it's not even an apocalypse. It's just LA that's kind of getting.
It's like quarantine from the rest of the US.
So like maybe the person that maintains it is still alive. I like that too, but I wish the story spoke more about that. Like Amanda is vlogging to her followers outside of LA, presumably, and that's fun. But I would have liked more about the fact that, like, just imagine if LA was quarantined today, and there were zombies, and we were just like, I don't know, on a podcast talking about games while people are killing zombies.
Well, this is a weird pull, but in the movie 28 Days Later, I always loved the idea that, London is just going through this hell, and then like there's a soldier who is like, it's never confirmed in either the first movie or the sequel, but he's like, yeah, actually the rest of the world's fine. Like they're still airing The Simpsons in America, and it's totally fine, but they're just like totally cut off. Like that was just such a cool idea,
Yeah.
Maybe that's why, because I like 28 Days Later so much that maybe that's why I'm digging Dead Island too.
Yeah, I think Dying Light does the same thing. I think that adds like a cool element of hope of like, oh, we could get out of this. But also at the same time, it adds another layer of like messed up of like, really? Like no one's going to come help us or anything? Like y'all are okay with just this city being this hellhole? And
we got to stop this before it spreads.
Yeah.
It's a good incentive, I guess. I don't know.
At that point, may as well just blow it up.
I wanted to ask, because it sounds like they want to milk this, and there's gonna be probably another game, I would imagine.
In 10 years.
Yeah. Like, out of all the money they've invested in this franchise at this point, like, there's for sure going to be another one. What city should they go to, though? That's not LA.
I mean, it's probably going to be one of the...
Florida. We're already kind of good.
I was going to say it's going to be one of the 5 video game cities. It's going to be like New York or Chicago. Miami.
What about like a Seattle?
Louisiana, right? Infamous 2. There's that. That's
what? I feel like Infamous is the only one that's really done, right? I think Seattle or like Louisiana's still pretty fresh. I don't think anyone's
3, right?
Oh, right. That's right. Mafia 3, yeah.
3.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to figure out how I could work the word hell into any of those city names.
I mean, if you want to go
Florida
for
would be cool, but like it's the same like tropical vibe. But I guess that's kind of what Dead Island has to
Seattle.
It's as easy to make fun of, if you're going to satirize something.
The thing about Florida, too, is that you could have, like, nondescript, legally distinct theme park, that you could explore, which would be cool.
You could have zombie gators.
Exactly.
All of our invasive species are zombies. Burmese pythons. Zombies are rising out of the Everglades. You could ride an airboat
from trees. Ooh, airboat, yeah.
You could back up.
This.
Yeah, like have them like drive it backwards and chop them up with the big fan. It's good ideas here.
Yeah,
we need more Florida games.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know.
Florida's very deserving of things right now.
We got a Hotline Miami, right?
Oh,
Other
the
than
Florida.
Is that the national state game?
Oh. I was thinking the Florida Hellglades.
Oh yeah, what's
Oh, there
Hellglades?
you go.
Hellglades?
I don't know.
You go to Kennedy Space Center and like zombies in space, zombie astronauts.
Yeah. See,
There you
this
go.
is good stuff.
Yeah, this
Got
is
this.
great stuff. Good podcast.
I'll hit Dan Buster Studios up.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
no.
Well, let's move on to probably the biggest news of the week. You know, y'all think Lawbreakers is coming back?
Is that really a headline?
I mean, it is in my heart.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not opposed. I just
So
I played it at an E3 pre-release, and I remember walking away going, "That was fine." And that's the only time I've ever played that game.
So back in the day, back when I was a little more insufferable, at one point in time, Lawbreakers was my brand, and I hate personal brands now. I think it's dumb.
Did you have a T-shirt?
No, I didn't.
You didn't go that far. Okay.
But I was super into Lawbreakers. I genuinely I still think it was a really cool game.
I feel like I've learned something weird about you. Like this is like
I've got like I was so into Lawbreakers that the PR team, when the game closed down, sent me several sealed copies of like the collector's editions because they're like
Several?
I've got two. I've got two.
Yeah, it's like, why more than one?
They were like, "Hey, we're just gonna throw these away. Do you want them?" And I was like, "Yeah." And
I mean, like Lawbreakers was always like, even at the time, I remember us talking about it in the office because there's the whole Cliff Bleszinski of it, you know, and I remember like we were all like, it's probably going to be good. Like Cliff Bleszinski is good at making shooters, but like it was just the competition was so tough at the time. And then I remember, what was the follow up? Or the
Radical Heights
Battle Royale. Yeah.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Yeah, like we actually, I remember doing a bunch of videos of that with Dan Tack and being kind of like, this is kind of cool. Like I like some of the weird stuff in here, the tone they're going for, and like the way you like dropped into the match without a parachute and stuff like that. Like
I don't think the argument was that the game is bad. Sometimes just games don't take off because
I think
it's
that's
so
what it came
competitive and marketing is like, it could be a fine game, but
Yeah.
I feel like
So
Radical Heights
real
is,
quick, what
very-
kicked this off was Cliff tweeted like 5 days ago, "Just got a text from my lawyer about Lawbreakers. Stay tuned." And then he followed it up the next day saying, "Apparently people are sniffing around seeing who has the rights to it. And my legal team is like," and then he inserted the Spider-Man pointing at Spider-Man gif. But as a fan of Lawbreakers, I was like, "Oh man, is something happening?"
why not? Bring it back.
kind of surprised
Let's
that's
do
a thing. I would assume that he would have owned the rights
You
to
know,
it.
funnily enough, Lawbreakers is the first video essay I ever wrote about, and I did this whole deep dive retrospective on Gears and Unreal and how it fed into Lawbreakers. And it's probably why I'm here today, because it kind of set me off down this road of video production, like scripted video production. So shout out to Lawbreakers. Also, apparently Cliffy B announced today he's writing a comic book. Do you remember the dog concept art he was tweeting about a few years ago? I think it was this comic book. I think people were
teasing it for a while.
Yeah, people were speculating, was it an animated thing? Was it a game? It's a comic book.
I have not read his book yet, but I really want to. But it seems like he's not really that interested in video games at this point, right? I mean, like personally, as a hobby, he seems to like them still, but like he's into financing musicals on Broadway and stuff like that.
Apparently
now.
really good ones. Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know is he even like
he is kind
wanna
of
get back into games, or
I think he does a little bit.
Okay.
He kind of teeters on it, at least what he talks about publicly, and kind of goes back and forth on it.
I feel like the boss key
private,
situation
he doesn't
is
like to talk about.
Yeah, like I think he just like it's a lot of win to go out of your sails when you launch 2 games, neither really hit, and then you got to close your studio. Like he went from like video game stardom with Gears of War, and then I guess original Fortnite, and then yeah, his next thing just didn't hit. That's got to be pretty deflating.
And didn't hit in a big public way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's got the chops. Like, he's a good designer, you know.
Yeah.
It's just he's got to find the right project, which is, you know, tough for anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Marcus?
I was like, maybe that project is Lawbreakers the musical.
Oh.
Maybe that's what he's got his lawyer on. He's like,
Yeah.
I'm going to combine the two things that I like.
Low Gravity, and they do a cover of Gravity. Defying gravity.
They're just gonna ape a song from the arguably most popular Broadway musical.
Of course.
I mean, it's called Lawbreakers. So.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, now we're on.
Copyright law.
There you
They
go.
should do a Street Fighter cross Tekken type thing, and bring in. They should do Battleborn cross Lawbreakers. Like, bring them both back.
Gets Randy Pitchford on the phone. It's like, hey, we can help. You know, rising tide raises all ships, right? We can get these.
Get Andrew Reiner on the phone. You know.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Maybe that's what he's doing. He's bringing back Battleborn.
Lawborn. Or would it be
Battlebreakers.
Battlebreakers.
Yeah. That's got to be a
kinda
thing
nice, right?
already.
That has to be, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's like a Transformers sub-series
Yeah,
or
let's
something.
Google that. Let's see what comes up.
But yeah, he also, I don't know, this is your Cliff Bleszinski update. He also,
Thank you.
I was planning to just talk about Lawbreakers, and then I got an email in my inbox today saying Cliffy B is writing a comic with Image Comics. And it's called Scrapper, and it's about a bunch of dogs.
Sorry, hold on real quick.
Yeah.
There is a mobile game from Epic Games called Battlebreakers.
That's perfect.
awesome.
Okay, sorry, I just wanted to sneak that in there. So it's not available.
I've
Sorry.
heard about this. Maybe subconsciously, you know, they had some it came out, I feel like, a few years ago after
looks like
Fortnite.
server shut down just in December.
Yeah.
Oh, we missed it.
Because there
it's
were
back.
some
You
like
can get it back.
crossovers at some point. If you like downloaded it, you would get like some Fortnite goodies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but yeah, he's also working on a comic book about like a dog inside of a cyberpunk city. I don't know. I think Cliffy B is, you know,
Isn't that Stray?
yeah. He is a character, you know, obviously. I've always been a fan of his work, and just his creative. He's got a very old school sort of creative. I don't know. I just wouldn't expect, you know, I wouldn't expect like a cybernetic dog comic to really be big, or be like. I feel like a lot of comic artists are like pushing for like the super, you know, dramatic comic stories, and I feel like Cliffy B kind of comes from like another time, and I always feel like his work has a certain quality to it that is nostalgic to me.
Yeah. It's weird because when you said Image Comics, like for whatever reason, quickly I thought you were going to say that somehow he was working on Saga, which is a series that I really enjoy, and just the idea of Cliff Bleszinski writing a Saga
Marcus
story.
Phoenix in.
That sounds weird.
Yeah.
It's Marcus Phoenix naked with wings.
Oh yeah, and he's got like a TV for a head. Yeah.
Jackrabbit is there for some reason.
Yeah, I dropped
Honestly,
Saga.
Just Jackrabbit could fit in.
Honestly, yeah. I dropped Saga when it went on hiatus.
It's back.
Yeah,
Saga dropped you.
Saga dropped me, yeah. It just I feel like I have so much to catch up on, and I think I'm letting go of that.
It's been good.
Yeah?
It's come back.
All right. Kyle, you've been playing a game called Lunark. You don't have to talk about it too much, but you know, this is one that's on my radar.
Same.
It's that for people don't know, it's the cinematic rotoscoped pixel art game. How is it?
It's very like very much from the school of like Prince of Persia and Another World.
Flashback.
Yeah, Flashback is a big one, which I never really played Flashback. Which it's funny because like those games that I just listed were kind of inspirational, especially Another World, for Playdead games like Limbo and Inside and stuff like that. But I didn't really play Another World when it came out. I've since like gone back and like revisited it to kind of like, you know, sort of my video game studies of like I should understand the sort of roots of these things. But Lunark looks a lot like that. It looks like a game that would have come out around the same time. It's like very pixelated, and the structure is 2D, sort of puzzle, sort of platformer, sort of action. It's like intentionally unresponsive to a fault sometimes. Like it's you got to really time your jumps over platforms, and sometimes that's kind of cool, and then other times it's kind of really frustrating and annoying, and I would get frustrated with the checkpoints. But I ended up playing through it. Like I ended up finishing it, and it's a cool throwback to those kinds of games. It looks great. It's got an awesome soundtrack. But I will admit, like I did get frustrated at times with the things that are implemented specifically to call back to that type of game. Where it's like, yeah, it's actually not that fun to press jump and then you jump like, I don't know, a full 3 seconds later. Times. And like that was especially problematic with like some bosses and stuff like that. But
yeah,
I don't regret playing it. It's a cool game, and it's like the thing I like about games like this is like from the developer, it's like you can tell they had a very clear specific vision, and they executed on that very clear specific vision.
Yeah.
And it also just looks really great. There's like, quote unquote cutscenes that will play occasionally where like, oh, you found that gem, you needed to, open that door over there. And then it will sort of do this clearly rotoscoped cutscene of like a character like reaching out for the gem and picking it up, and you can actually see all of the creators like reference footage that he used. He shares it on Twitter and stuff like that. And that part of it's really cool. It's kind of like when you saw the reference footage that was used to make Prince of Persia for the first time, and you're like, oh my, that fully got integrated into the game in a way that like I didn't quite understand that's exactly how they did it, but that's how they did it. The Lunark, yeah, I played it on Switch. I believe it's also on PC.
I think I am more interested in the development of this game than I am the actual game.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I've been following the game on TikTok for a while now. I think the developer's name is Johan.
It shows really well in that format of just like, hey, check out like 5 to 8 seconds of
look
really cool, and you're like, it does look really cool.
On his TikTok, he breaks down like the layers of rotoscoping that he did, and he shows like the reference footage that he filmed. And so that's the stuff that I was impressed by and intrigued by. But yeah, hearing that the game itself is maybe a little too true to its roots.
You have to go into it ready to be patient with it.
Okay.
Like it's like you kind of, if you're playing it, you're like, I understand why you implemented this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it necessarily makes the game better, but I understand why it's here.
Yeah. I saw your clip of you running into a wall, jumping and running into Is it not clear where like certain paths are in that game?
It's not too bad. That was one of the few instances where I was like, I think I can jump over there. And then I jumped and I hit the wall and I fell like 4 stories.
Yeah.
And the sort of the punchline at the end of it is I landed on a health item.
Oh, that's
but it
funny.
was like I still died.
Yeah, okay. That's funny. Okay, well that's Lunark. You been playing anything else, Kyle?
Man, not really. Dead Island 2, a little of that horror fishing game whose name
Dredge.
I played a little Dredge.
Nice.
But mostly Dead Island 2 has been the kind of surprise for me.
Yeah.
It was like, especially here at Game Informer, we get codes for games. I like to try everything.
Mm-hmm.
Even if I bounce off of it, I want to at least touch it and see if it's something that'll click with me. And Dead Island 2 was one I went into kind of like, I don't know, I'll see. And then like 2 or 3 hours later, I was like, I'm enjoying this. I think I might see this to credits, which kind of surprised me, frankly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so not much else. Yeah.
I've been in this weird space where I've been hopping around, playing a little bit of everything, and nothing's really sticking out. I've tried out the new Overwatch hero, Life Weaver. I really like that character. I don't think they're great in every situation, but they are. I don't know when the last time y'all played Overwatch was, but they are, because there's several new supports in recent years. But Life Weaver is the most utility of all of the supports, I would say. Like, not great healing output at all. But they've got this really cool, their whole theme is like rose petals and or cherry blossoms and stuff, and they have like these flowers that they summon, and some of them are like you can throw one of them on the ground and it's like this circular platform, and if somebody steps on it from either team, it shoots them up in the air and they like hover above everyone. So one of the things that they talk about, you can use it like if there's an Orisa ulting and like trying to pull people in to use her glaive and kill everyone, you could throw that cherry blossom petal underneath of Orisa and shoot Orisa up into the air, and then she can't damage anybody, right? There's a lot of like, I feel like there's a high skill ceiling, but it's Lifeweaver I feel like is very specific in the use cases that they are viable in.
Is this like you could throw Widowmaker into the air kind of thing and get a better
Yeah, so you could do that. They have a really cool ability that I really like. It's a bit disruptive in the way that a May wall can be disruptive, where in the wrong hands it can be really frustrating for your team. But they have this ability where they can throw a leash out, like a leash of energy, to a friendly player and pull them towards them. So if you played League of Legends, listeners, like it's like Thresh, or think of like just
it's like Wonder Woman from Multiverses.
Yeah, like you kind of lasso them and pull them into you, and it's a great way to get them out of harm's way, and that's really satisfying. I did that recently where like a Reaper jumped down and started ulting my team, and the person who was about to die, I yanked him out of there and saved their life. So really, really cool set of abilities. And they can summon their ult as Lifeweaver's ult as they summon this big like tree of life that you can use as cover, and it also like sends out bursts of healing. It's a cool character. So I bounced around on Lifeweaver. I beat Pokemon Violet finally.
Nice.
And got to Area 0 and did that whole thing. That game is wild.
Yeah, Area 0
in a good way, right?
Yeah. Story-wise, I liked Area 0 a lot. I felt like they kind of like take away your mobility at the end of the game, and it's this very long path of like it took me an hour pretty much to like walk through and do the story, and it was cool, but it was like, oh my god, just let me move quickly, because I didn't really care about catching the Pokemon that are down in the final area. I just wanted to like see the story through, and but yeah, the story itself was very wild for a Pokemon game. I wish more of the main game had that, because I felt like the main game was very bland, the main story. And
in a Pokemon game?
Yeah. Wild, right? But the end of this game though is so it's a 180. It's like an anime.
Yeah.
All right.
And
you have like a party and everything. Like it's
a drama. It's so cinematic too. Like, I wish I could talk about it, because the end is like, this is what Pokemon should be. Presentationally, story wise, it was. I know you're probably not going to go, Kyle. You're probably not going to go play it, are you? You should just YouTube
like halfway through. I got like halfway through Violet, I think.
Okay.
And I've heard good things about Area 0.
I would just YouTube it.
Said it reminded her of Annihilation, the movie.
Yeah, okay.
I was kind of like, well, that's intriguing.
Okay.
I want to know what you're talking about.
Is it going to be Beware speaking through your party member's voice?
Yeah.
Screaming.
Marcus, since you're not a big Pokemon person, Marcus.
It's weird because I am, but then I'm not, because I'll always have an affinity for that first gen, and I keep an eye on the franchise, but I haven't played like 90% of the game.
You should just go and YouTube the end of Violet, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Do that.
Yeah, it's I'm glad I did it.
Too.
I'm glad I did it, but I don't think I would recommend everybody play through that entire game just to see the end, unless you really like the game. I felt like towards the end, I feel like I started Violet and the first hour I was like, this is cool, and enjoyed it and the new format. And then there was a very long lull for me, and I was kind of over it. But I had a friend, Ken Shepard over at Kotaku, was really wanting me to like finish the game, so I streamed it last night, and we all stayed up till like 2:30 a.m. as I finished the game. And so that's why I went through it and saw it through. I think if you don't have that kind of motivation, just go, and you should at least go and YouTube it, because it's really cool, and it's pretty different for a Pokemon game, I would say.
Is it something that could be expanded upon in a sequel, of like a tease of like, hey, we could go this direction for the next big game?
I think the DLC is like directly gonna.
I think so.
Oh, I forgot there's DLC.
Deal with Area Zero.
Yeah,
that's this year, right?
Supposed to be, I think. Yeah.
Like summer or fall or something like that.
Yeah.
If it's like Sword and Shield, it'll be summer or fall, I think.
Yeah. And also I think Toby Fox did a lot of the music at the end of the game. It feels like it's Toby Fox.
Okay.
And
the main song that plays while you're like walking around Area Zero is so good. It's like on a different level for that game, which if it is Toby Fox, not surprising.
Yeah. See, I just want to play that. Like, can you guys just like separate that into its own game, and I don't have to do the other like 90 hours of Violet or whatever?
I feel like the DLC is hopefully going to be more of that.
I hope, yeah.
But that's kind of what I've been playing. Kind of been popping around. But now that I finished Pokemon, next on my list is Metroid. Finally, I was like
Metroid in general. Oh,
Metroid,
okay.
Metroid Prime Remastered. Sorry.
Oh, Prime. Ooh, nice.
Yeah. Because I've never played that. And I told myself I'm not going to play another Switch game until I finish Pokemon, and so I finally did it. And now I can go and play other games.
Well, you've got less than a month for that to be true. Right?
Oh, I know, right? Yeah.
There's no way on May 12th.
I think Metroid.
I don't know your life, Alex, but I assume you're gonna start playing Tears of the Kingdom right when it comes.
Oh God, yeah. Okay. Breath of the Wild is my favorite game.
Tears of the Kingdom comes out, you're like, I gotta finish Pokemon. Sorry, Zelda. You're just gonna
no, God, I would break my cartridge in half to play Tears of the Kingdom. I'll delete my Pokemon save right now. Just let me have Tears of the Kingdom. Well, let's Marcus. You've been playing what, the new Vampire Survivors DLC?
Yeah, Tides of the Fuscari, I think is how you pronounce that.
Yeah.
Came out, what was it, last week? $1.99. The cost of 2 McChickens at McDonald's, but a lot more.
Surely McChickens have risen in price.
I guess they would, right? Inflation. I haven't bought a McChicken since like
Hold
college.
On. Let me look
it was
up.
like super cheap and viable for like a college.
Yeah, me either. I totally haven't bought a McChicken in a minute.
Wes, how much are they?
I think they're like $1.79.
Hold on. Have you all had the McCrispy?
I have, but I'm not.
I've seen. The McCrispy, the new McChicken?
No, it's like the elevated.
Yeah, the McChicken is that Tyson frozen patty type thing, like the school lunch chicken sandwich. The McCrispy was their response to Popeye's chicken sandwich, and every company had to come out with their own chicken sandwich. Even Panera did, which is absurd to me.
Because I've had a McCrispy, and if that was the answer to Popeyes, it was a very quiet answer.
Yeah.
Because I don't think anything tops that Popeyes chicken sandwich.
So the average price, so the minimum price for a McChicken in the United States is $1 in Michigan. It's $3 for a McChicken in Massachusetts, and the average price in America is $1.74.
$3 for a McChicken? It's like, you may as well just get the McCrispy.
The mc-menu.com. It is currently $1.49 in
we're on the same website.
Yeah, $1.67 in Minnesota. So if you guys want to ship us some McChickens, so we can save like 12 cents
or at least 20 cents, we'll send some nickels in the mail.
There you go.
But what were we talking about?
I was going to ask you the same thing.
Is DLC as good as a McChicken was the question that we were asking.
And is the McChicken of Vampire Survivors? It's fun. Vampire Survivors, still a super fun game, believe it or not. And the DLCs they put out, well, I forget what the last one was, but I thought that was super good. and this one's also fun. It's I like it because it's got a high fantasy theme, so they're changing it up where it's wizards and witches, and it's, you know, the new stage, which is called, I think it's Lake Fiscari or something, but it's just this bright, like whimsical, just a lot of green mushroom houses and stuff. It's got this like almost, I don't want to say generic fantasy music because it's good, but it's like, it's what you would expect to hear if you booted up like maybe like a Zelda knockoff or something. And it's just such a different change of pace tonally from just the otherwise very Castlevania inspired stuff.
Yeah.
But I like it. You know, it's fun. That map is huge. Like, I've only done a few runs through it, but it's this giant sprawling map where the stuff I've run into so far, I've run into some small villages that it looks like an RPG, like a JRPG village, where you just go in, you see houses, they each have like backyards with like crops and stuff. And it also makes for like smaller lanes to navigate when you're getting swarmed. And you can use the fences or the yard to your advantage to try to maybe trap people inside of like someone's crop, like, I don't know, like their cabbages, and just like, all right, you're all stuck in here, I'm gonna go in here and like clean house now. I found a hedge maze at one point, which was cool and also terrifying, because you're going through it and you're like, oh, this is neat, I wonder what's in here. And then you're like, oh, everything in here is super narrow, and I'm running into dead ends, and I just got like 100 enemies coming at me. Oh, no. And now I have to work my way back out the way I came and hope I don't die. It's come to 3 new characters. I believe they're all hidden inside the stage, because I found one of them, Eleanor, who's like a sorceress, and she was inside of a coffin inside one of the villages, and I'm assuming that's how you get the other 2. I just haven't found them yet. But she's really fun. She shoots like basically like magic spells from her wand, kind of like 2 at a time, kind of in a V formation.
Okay.
But you know, if you upgrade it, she can shoot more. And then there's also these like supplemental power-ups that you can find throughout the stage that sort of enhance her staff. Like there was one that creates like basically like a large damaging wave, and it's like its own separate attack, even though it's tied to her base attack. I'm still figuring out how that works, but I was like, oh, are they giving me my attack again? But they're like, no, this is a different one, but it's tied to your thing. And I was like, okay. But yeah, so I need to find the other characters. There seems to be a couple of secrets. Like I found a floating crystal that looks like it has an item inside, but I can't figure out how to open it. Like I thought hitting it would maybe break it, but that didn't seem to work. Granted, at the time I found it, Death was coming at me, so I didn't have a ton of time to like poke at it because I had to kind of evade him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to find it again and see like, you know, what that's all about. But it's funny because, like I said, like the stage itself looks like a mixture of like an SNES like Final Fantasy, or maybe even like I said, like a Zelda knockoff, just because of how it's designed and the colors and stuff. But I'm liking it so far. Like again, it's more Vampire Survivors, you know.
Right.
Awesome.
And I haven't played in a while, so getting back into it, I like sank back in immediately, where it was like, oh no, like I don't want to do anything else now. I just want to get really good at this stage.
That's actually a quick question that I have. Is like I played it a lot, you know, October, November last year, or maybe earlier, I guess, if I want to get technical. But I really haven't touched it in a while. Is this the kind of DLC where I can jump straight to that specifically, and like, you know, Vampire Survivor is pretty simple. I'm not too worried about not understanding what's happening, but like, it's pretty easy to just jump right back in if you've lapsed for a while.
Yeah, like, okay. Did you play the first DLC?
A little bit. Yeah, a little tiny bit. Yeah, I think I played like 1 or 2 runs or something. Okay,
because like just in terms of like how accessible the DLC is, it's like, yeah, like you just slip back in. You know, it has its own like stipulations and stuff, but
right.
In terms of the core loop, it's that, you know, just a bunch of new enemies, and it's fun seeing new enemies. This stage has a like mythical unicorn that chases you, and I don't know what it is. It looks like a Pokemon, but it's at a certain point, there's this like ethereal horse that shows up, and it's got this glow, and it's like flashing all these colors, and it moves really slow, and it takes forever to kill. In fact, I haven't killed it properly yet. I only killed it because I got the you know, the cross that just clears enemies that are on screen. I just happened to get that and it killed it immediately. But before I was like throwing everything at it.
Maybe it's your friend, Marcus.
Well, I'm afraid to touch it because I'm like, that has to be like instant death, right? Because it's moving slow and it's just absorbing everything and it just follows you. And the first time it was following me indefinitely.
It just wants you to pet it.
I think next time I play, I'm just going to touch it to see what happens. But before, because I was trying to find just secrets and everything, I was like, well, I don't want to die and I want a good run, so I'm going to have to avoid this thing.
Yeah.
But I was wondering, like, am I supposed to kill it? Because it looks friendly, quote unquote, just because of how magical it looks. It's like, but also everything in this game is trying to kill you, so
yeah,
that thing will probably wipe me out immediately.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
Yeah, it's fun. Check it out. Like I said, if you can afford a McChicken, depending on your state, then you can jump into this. Hey.
Awesome. You been playing anything else before we go to West and wrap up?
I've been playing The Wreck, which is a game that came out in March. It's the follow-up to it's not a follow-up, but it's by the team that made Bury Me, My Love, which is an indie game. I think I talked about it recently on the GI show. The team is the Pixel Hunt. This is their next game. It's this sort of emotional narrative adventure game where you play as this woman who is dealing with her mom's she's been hospitalized with a brain aneurysm, and the implication is that even if she survives it, she might be permanently disabled, and it's kind of falling on you as like, hey, she's kind of basically signed a thing that says like you're basically in charge of her fate about whether you can let her live or die, but even if she lives, you're gonna kind of have to take care of her, and the daughter is kind of like not cool with that because she didn't really have a say in this. But also the protagonist, the daughter, got into some sort of car accident years before and is dealing with some trauma from that, and sort of like those two events are linked in a way where it basically divides the game into two halves, where in the present you're dealing with the stuff with your mom, you're just having kind of like text conversations with like your sister and the nurse and some other characters, doing some sort of like some choice driven stuff. They do the thing where like letters or pretty much like big words will appear almost like Edith Finch style in the environment, and you'll select a response that's just hanging out. But then you'll always relive that car accident from years ago after like those segments, and then it'll take you to a flashback that I guess sort of fills in the protagonist's backstory. And those are interesting because they play a lot like Immortality, like a 3D version of Immortality, in that you can fast forward and rewind through these like dream sequences basically, and you're trying to find all the little key points to interact with. And the way the game hints that is that the controller starts vibrating. So I'm like, you're basically scrubbing through these dreams, and you're like, oh, the controller's rumbling, it must be here. And then you'll see one of the floaty words sort of materialize, and you'll click it, and then it'll play like a little comment or memory or whatever. So I was just kind of taken away by it. I was like, oh my god, like we're already doing this again. Okay.
Yeah, well, you did that a little in Batman, right? In Arkham, not Arkham Origins. I feel like you did some of that. Remember Me, of course, we all remember that
Me.
game,
I was gonna say Remember Me's probably. That game was mid, but
that game was interesting.
There's a part of me that wants a sequel. Like there was something there where I think a sequel could be cool. But but it does have a bit of that Remember Me vibe to it, cool. With just the reliving memories and all that stuff. But it seems pretty solid so far. The performances I'm not super wild on. I think the voice acting is just kind of okay. This might be their first game with voice acting, because Bury Me, My Love is purely text. But I want to see it through. Like, there's enough of a hook so far where I'm like enjoying it, and because of just my love of Bury Me, My Love, makes me want to see how they stick the landing with this. So it's cool so far. It's on Game Pass, so that helps. Actually, no, it's not on Game Pass. I'm lying. I think it's on Game Pass because I got a code for it, so it feels like it's Game Pass. I'm just like, wait, actually, is it, or just because I got a code? So it's like basically the same thing. But
for the listeners too, I'm sure they'll love that.
It's Game Pass for work. But it seems all right so far. I think it's so far worth checking out. And I think it's only like 3 hours long when I checked how long to beat. So
cool.
I'm already like an hour and a half into it.
And that was called The Wreck.
The Wreck.
Awesome. Wes, take us home. I see you've been playing a certain game that is sure to get some hooting and hollering from people.
Yes, I have been playing Final Fantasy XIV again. I am just in a mood to play that game, and I booted it up last week, and now it's the only game I really feel like playing.
How far are you in it?
I am working through Heaven's Sword, which is the first expansion after like the big reboot, A Realm Reborn. Yeah, I'm kind of just in a mode where I want to, like, I've always liked that game. I bought it when it first, like, A Realm Reborn first came out. I didn't even understand like how it worked as an MMO. I just liked Final Fantasy, so I bought it, and I didn't have any friends to play with, and I enjoyed it. And once a year I pop in and I'm like, man, I still really love this, but I just don't have the time to do the whole MMO thing. And this time I'm just gonna try to do it again and see if it sticks. I think it's sticking more this time because I'm like committed to catching up at least, because I'm just tired of hearing about how great these stories are and not knowing how great they are myself. And because what I played, A Realm Reborn and the patch quests afterward are not like the most engrossing thing ever. It's not the Final Fantasy XIV that people so highly speak about. But I'm also trying to like play this like an MMO instead of just blazing through the main quest. Like I'm doing duties, which is like your dungeons and your dailies and all that kind of stuff. I was on the subreddit in their daily thread, like asking questions. They got the nicest subreddit. They got the
but that just shows how deep you are. Once you're on Reddit,
yeah.
We've lost the West.
You're basically a Moogle now.
It's people talk about how nice the community is, and I'm like, no, come on, like you just have great friends to play with. But like it really has been so pleasant. The subreddit was really kind, and even like I was in a raid yesterday and I was failing one of the mechanics because I just had no idea what to do. And so I was like, I'm just gonna type in the chat thing and be like, which I'm on PlayStation, so typing takes forever.
Oh god.
Yeah, it probably cost us another fail, like just trying to type this out. But I'm like, I know I'm doing the wrong thing. What am I doing wrong? And everyone was like super kind. We all just sat back and then they all typed exactly what I needed to do, how to do it, and all this. They're giving me like GGs after we do it. They're letting me pick treasure first. And I'm like, oh, okay, I feel pretty good. And the game has a way to like make yourself known as a novice. Like when I'm in the world, people see my name and then they see novice beside it. So like
they have that leaf thing, right? That's is like sprout, and that's how you know.
Maybe I need to play this game.
So yeah, so people are nice to you. It is still so overwhelming though. Like the game does not really try to teach you how to do any of it, which is why I'm falling back on like subreddits. And I have like my Safari on my phone right now has like, I made a little private group of 10 links to like different guides for my character class and job, because the game has no interest in telling you how to play it, but there's a lot of great guides out there for it.
Can I ask,
are
you playing it for the story, or is just the grind and mechanics and systems really doing it for you, the loop?
I'm playing it for the story primarily because that's why I jump back in. I want to get through these expansions and see what everyone's talking about. I'm finding the loop very enjoyable.
Because I would be playing it for the loop and not really the story.
The loop seems quite expansive. Like I think I'm touching like 2% of it when I'm doing my daily raids and roulette dungeons and all this stuff. But like I still have so much of my menu that I can't even open because I have not interacted with that. Like
and they've got this housing stuff now as well that
housing
seems up my alley.
I don't know. The housing thing seems like a mess. Just from what I've gathered, like you got to spend a lot of money, not real world money, but like gil in the game, and it's a lottery and it's a whole thing. So I don't know if I'll get there. But I am unsurprisingly enjoying this game again for the time that I do every single year, and I'm going to try really hard to stick with it this time. I'm in a big Final Fantasy mood right now, and I
got a month.
I do have a month before.
We all have 1 month before any obligations, video game or otherwise, we need to finish.
I mean, that is how I'm treating everything right now, is like trying to get my plate cleared as much as possible for Zelda, and then, Diablo and Final Fantasy. The next month after that, it's
Street Fighter. Don't forget about Street Fighter.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, I'm so jealous of the US.
Why? What? Oh, because of Final Fantasy.
Because because of 14, because you have the ability to make time for that game, whereas I would like. It's weird because I was like, I could do it. I just need to do it. Because the only time I played it was when we did this the GI live stream where I played it for the first time with John Woody and Sarah Pazorsky at MinMax. Because they're both two giant Final Fantasy 14 fans, and that was a fun way to play that game with two just experts. And also John Woody, I was gonna say, like, you should probably hook up with him, Wes, because he is so like, he is the ultimate baller in that game because he has everything, because he's put like an ungodly amount of hours.
Yeah, he's like very open about, like, I just play Final Fantasy 14. Like, that is what I like. That's the only game I play. That
is his one game. And just being a novice playing with him, it was like hanging out with like your super rich friend, because he was just like spoiling me. He's like summoning the car from Final Fantasy 15 and be like, yeah, we could just go to the mission in this. We could just fly there. Just like, you can do this stuff. And he's just like cycling through all of his like expensive mounts that he's acquired.
I have to make it clear, John Woody, he works here at Game Informer.
Yes.
He's more of a behind the scenes kind of guy. And like Marcus said, apparently he plays Final Fantasy 14 pretty much exclusively.
He's like, I got the Lunar Whale from Final Fantasy 4. We just, do you want to use that or the Final Fantasy 15 car? You know, we have options. Like, he's like his fleet of vehicles. You're like,
that's another thing I love about MMOs is collecting mounts. And
there's a lot. I've been looking into guides and stuff. It seems like a lot of work, like grindy work.
Well, you know, nothing good in life comes for free.
Yeah, he told me when I asked, like, how long does it take to get that? And he's like, you got a while.
I'm currently fine with my chocobo, but there are like mount speeds.
What level do you get a chocobo?
You get it towards the end of A Realm Reborn. I'd say in your 40s. And Realm Reborn, you finish at 50.
I thought it was sooner, because I was like, I could probably work towards a chocobo in a reasonable amount of time.
It needs to be sooner, because the mount, I think, is like the big game changer for me, because one, it's faster on ground, but you can also fly, and you can just go above any structure, really, and just, like, you don't got to pay attention to the map anymore. Just go directly to the point instead of following the paths on the map.
But you fly on the chocobo?
Yeah, this thing it's flying high, too.
I was like, I thought chocobos were flightless.
Not these ones. I also have Magitech armor that I am able to fly on.
Dang it. Yeah, I think John had that too. See, because I'm with you, Wes, or I primarily want to play this for the story, especially listening to John Carson, who's also a big Final Fantasy 14 guy. Like, he reviewed the last expansion for us. And him and a bunch of other people saying, like, it's probably the best Final Fantasy story ever told. And I'm a huge Final Fantasy fan, and just to have that to fill that gap of like, I want to see what everyone's talking about, and I love this series so much, but man, there's so much time you have to put into it.
Yeah, it's like, that's like 300 hours away. I'm trying to, kind of what you mentioned earlier about like time. I'm not like necessarily just playing this for hours. I mean, I was playing Dead Island 2 a lot last week and stuff, but like, I'm trying to break the mindset. I don't know how you guys view video games, but if I have 1 hour of time, I really struggle to jump into a video game and just play it for an hour, because I'm like, that's not really enough to do anything. So instead, I will just waste time on Twitter or TikTok or something like that. And then I finish that hour and I'm like, I should have just played the game. So now I'm trying to, like, you know, I'm watching Love is Blind at night. I've got an hour till I'm going to sleep.
Have you seen the reunion?
No, I'm 2 episodes away from.
Okay.
They're getting fitted for wedding dresses.
Okay.
And stuff. Yeah, it's been interesting. But yeah, so like we watched that, and it's 11 o'clock at night. I usually try to get to bed at midnight, and I'm like, I could just go to bed now and like kind of just scroll on Twitter or like read or something lame like that. I guess reading's not lame. But I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go run a raid. It'll take like 45 to 50 minutes, or a dungeon. And I did it, and I felt really good. And then I turned off the game, and I was like, you know what? I can do this. I can just play a game, Final Fantasy XIV, for like an hour at a time and be perfectly content. And that's what I'm trying to do with my life, is just make the time.
Yeah, because I've never played MMOs. Like 14, I guess, was my first real one. And even playing the few hours I did of that, I was having fun, but like, I think being a Final Fantasy fan helps. Like, you're like, it's the most Final Fantasy game of like, I recognize all of this. I'm a cool Evilise rabbit person. Everyone here is doing all the stuff that I know. There's chocobos, and also just all the elements of the other games being shoved into this one is cool. And it's just like, this is the forever Final Fantasy game, basically. Like, this is right up my alley. I just need to sit down and at least play it consistently, because I haven't fired it up since the stream.
Something I'm most impressed with is like how easy it is to play solo. Because like, if I'm jumping in for an hour, trying to get people to link up and play is a task. But so far, I've not run into anything where I'm required to like have a party. Well, you have to have parties for dungeons, but like there's systems built in, like you can do.
Yeah, they updated it not terribly long ago to have more single player dungeons. I remember.
Mm-hmm. There's matchmaking, and then the subreddit like taught me like if I'm looking for older content, which I am, because not many people are doing Heaven Sword stuff these days. Like they have an entire feature where you can go in and be like, I'm trying to do this, and you can put in the comments like, I'm a newbie. I don't care if you just one shot this enemy in 2 seconds for me. I just want to check it off my list. And then you just hit send and it just sends it out to the world and people can find it. And like 2 minutes later, I had like 8 level 130 characters with me. And we literally finished the dungeon in like 10 seconds. And I got the checklist and I was like, this rules. This is good. This is good for me. Do it. Play Final Fantasy XIV if you're interested and just see what happens,
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, let's get to housekeeping and then close the show out with some listener emails. Of course, you can follow these lovely gentlemen here. Kyle, you can follow him at Kyle M. Hilliard on social media, on Twitter. You can follow Marcus Stewart. I'm pointing to everybody on video. This is wild. You can follow Marcus Stewart right here at Marcus Stewart 7. And you can follow Wesley LeBlanc right there.
It's like he's not there on my screen.
Oh, well, he's on everybody else's screen down here. And you can follow Wes at LeBlanc Wes. It's LeBlanckwes. The C is silent, but when I say your Twitter name, I kind of say it unsilenced so people can spell it.
I do too.
Yeah.
Appreciate you. Yeah.
And then you can follow me at It's Van Aken. None of those letters are silenced. In case anybody was wondering, please go and review the show over on Apple Podcasts. If that's too much to ask and you're over on Spotify, leave us a rating. That'd be great. We do read off most of those reviews on Apple Podcasts. So if you go and do that, we will shout you out and say thank you. Of course, go and listen to our other podcast that releases every Friday, All Things Nintendo. It's about all things Nintendo, hosted by Brian Shea. And lastly, go follow us on TikTok at game_informer. And shout out to Matt Storm, our podcast editor. Go and listen to their podcasts, Fun and Games and Reignite, which is their BioWare podcast. And also Screen Snarks. They talked about some of our documentaries on that podcast after they watched them. Go check out all of those. Let's get into listener emails. If you would like to contribute to these, you can email us podcast@gameinformer.com with the subject line Game Informer Show Question, or you can join our Discord, which you get access to by subscribing to us on Twitch, and go to the Game Informer Show channel, and you can ask your question there. I usually do a call out during the week, and but even if I don't do a call out, you can just drop them in there. I always check it before we record. All right, let's get into our questions. Troidal Power in Discord asks, what zombie smashing weapon have you always wanted to use that you haven't seen in Dead Island 2? And if you found yourself in a real zombie apocalypse, would you opt for heavy clothing to resist bites or light clothing for mobility?
I mean, second question, you go heavy clothing for sure. Because you watch enough stuff where you're like, that could have been prevented if you pulled your sleeve down.
Or if you had like a puffer jacket on,
Yeah, or even just like a reasonable, because it's like,
I'm wearing corduroy in the zombie apocalypse, Like there's no way they're biting through that.
Proven zombie resistant material.
Yeah.
I used to have corduroy pants in 5th grade, and I used to think it was cool.
I have a cool corduroy jacket now, and I've actually gotten more compliments in it while wearing it in the last 4 weeks than I've gotten compliments in like 5 years. From strangers too. They'll come on and be like, I love your corduroy jacket. I'm like, thank you.
It's like a sign of the...
What'd you say?
I would say when they compliment you, you reply by saying, get away from me.
Yeah.
Because they're strangers.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. Well, usually I'm trying to get something from them, like a coffee or, something like that.
Just soliciting free coffees. Yeah, I'm trying to think of a weapon. In just Dead Island or just zombie stuff in general?
I think
what
in
I
Dead
would love in Dead Island 2 that I haven't found yet is a gun. That would be fantastic. I understand you get them eventually, but I do not have them yet, and I want them.
You're not too far from one base.
I'm in the movie studio.
Yeah, you're not far from one. I would say don't think you're going to be able to rely on guns too much. They are not as powerful as I was not using them often, even when I had sticks.
The big thing I want, Wes, which maybe this is what they do or they don't. Not to go back and down in the Dead Island 2 rabbit hole, but like, I just want to be able to shoot explosive barrels and stuff.
Okay,
like,
yeah, you can do that.
That's like the only thing I want to use them for. I don't even want to shoot zombies. I just want to shoot stuff next to them that will explode. Because otherwise, I've been running up and hitting it and just running away, and it's like, this is not efficient.
Yeah,
this is not a good way to do this.
I think I want like a good barbed wire baseball bat, like a good Cactus Jack style. It works in wrestling. It would work better here. Have bits of flesh hanging off your bat when you get a good swing in. Or maybe like a good old fashioned 2x4 with just a single really long nail in it. Like just good country style weapon.
I want something more cartoonish. Like I'm thinking like a weapon from Fortnite, but not like, I don't want like a weapon from Fortnite, but like, how you'll see like, oh, that weapon's just a giant fish with a stick through it. And you just like, I want to just hit zombies and hear the squish of like the big fish hitting it, a fish mallet. That's what I want.
An overpowered lightsaber would be good too. That you just like everything's one hit kill basically.
And with the flesh system, you could like hold it up against their skin and the heat would just like, yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
A good katana. You get a sword in this game at all?
Yeah, you do.
Oh, okay.
This is an incredibly niche reference, but shout out to any barista listeners. The portafilters that you use are for... Were you a barista, or have you used a portafilter?
I own a portafilter, yeah.
Oh, okay, awesome.
I'm a barista at home.
They're like surprisingly heavy.
They're like a wrench.
I always like if somebody ever... comes to my home with ill intent, the portafilter's the first thing I'm grabbing. Like that thing is,
and they could even have like you could like hit it like with the part that you put the coffee in, and then blood comes out like the portafilter. Yeah,
that sounds like the exact kind of like brutal gore that would be in Dead Island 2. That's perfect. Yeah,
that's a really good idea. Portafilter. You should tweak them.
I have a Keurig machine I can throw at them.
If you throw it in water, it might, set off some electricity.
Yeah. Have you guys seen? Do you guys know what Keurigs are? Are you guys baristas or no?
Oh, no, I have a Keurig.
Okay.
I don't know what a portafilter is. What you guys were talking about?
I think it's one of those things that are outdoor by like construction sites.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's usually graffiti inside of them.
Didn't know
smell
those were
good
used to make coffee, but something every day.
Yeah. Big filters in there.
It'd be cool. What if you could just like cut just a nice branch off a tree? Like as you're running around, you see a tree, and you're like, "That's a nice branch," and you just cut it down and just go around just swinging that.
No, that's Tears of the Kingdom.
Combine it with a rock.
I want to be able to fuse weapons.
Ability?
Yeah.
Ooh,
I'm just throwing it out here. Maybe call it like Ultra Hand or something.
You could like save a kingdom with that for sure.
Yeah.
I want a comically large boulder I can just push like downhill and it just crushes all the zombies on the street.
Yeah, would love that. Would love to control magnetic force fields around objects, and you know.
You could do that at the workbench, put some magnets on some stuff, and
true, yeah. All right, let's get to the next question. Oh, and I'm heavy clothing, by the way. I think we covered that.
Yeah, who would choose light clothing?
Nobody's really running that much faster in light clothing. It's not a video game; it's real life. Poor and Curly on Discord asks, a while back on MinMax, Kyle mentioned he enjoys playing Just Dance with his family whenever a new one comes out. So my question is for Kyle, why are you not doing any TikTok dances on the Game Informer TikTok?
Because I never will. Stop bringing it up.
If a new Just Dance comes out,
it did.
Will you do it on TikTok?
No.
Would you do
I want to see you dancing, and then you're like serious voiceover, like Just Dance is a rhythm game, and it's you.
No, I think if you look in the sort of archives of Game Informer, I think Dance Central 3 came out, and you can find me and former intern, current Sony employee Odell dancing to Dance Central 3. That's all you get, man.
I have seen that.
Yeah. I mean,
have your skills improved since then?
Only atrophied, baby.
He's more of on like the level of like a Just Dance 2 now.
Yeah.
It's kind of gone down one release.
But Just Dance comes out like every 3 months, so there's.
It's true.
I'm good. I don't want to do it. Although Just Dance, I do find fascinating because there's like lore between characters, like over the course of like 3 years.
Oh, yeah,
like,
I thought they were like real characters though. I thought it was like Julia Michaels or something.
No, it's like there's like a Russian dancer guy and this other woman who like there was like a song where they were at a wedding, and then the next year there was a song where in the background it seemed like they got a divorce, and there's like
one of them has to like go off to war.
Right. And there's like really high quality like stop animated sequences. Like they had a whole what is that? Blue Sky, I can't remember what it's called. But like there's like they have these like weird videos in Just Dance where I'm like this is insane. This is a 3-minute like stop animated film that I'm just like dancing to in Just Dance. It's a very strange series cuz like it's incredibly popular and Ubisoft spends a decent amount of money on it. But like no one ever talks about it. Like we don't ever talk about Just Dance. Like why would we? It's like none our audience is not playing Just Dance, but like
they might if they saw your TikToks.
You know, that's a good point. But I don't want to do that.
Can that be like an extra life goal? Is that what it'll take? You know, like you donate so much, you'll do a TikTok dance.
Oh my God, my wife's been wanting me to do a TikTok dance just for fun with her, not recorded, but like, and I don't even want to. I'm even hesitant to do that. I don't want to dance on TikTok.
It's just for her
in the privacy of your home.
Exactly. Yeah.
Alex Stadnick, former host of this show, wrote in on Discord saying, on a scale of 1 to 10, how screwed would you be in a zombie apocalypse? How would you survive? Who in the group would become the crazy cult leader? Thanks. I'll take my answer off air.
Is 10 like highest, like most likely to not
die?
I
think so. Yeah.
I think I'm at least a 7. I think a combination of growing up in Boy Scouts and having some of those survival skills baked in, combined with living in Florida.
Well, no, it's how screwed would you be on a scale of 1 to 10?
Oh, then, so like lower is better. Then.
Yeah.
Oh, then I'd be lower then. I'm sorry. Then like a 3 probably. You know, because of those reasons. I could.
You know, it's the cocky ones that always die first, Marcus.
Yeah.
It's not cocky.
My thing is I would just be extraordinarily safe. Like I would be too scared. I wouldn't be venturing out to try to get supplies. I would just probably die of like starvation in a locked house just to, you know what I mean? As opposed to like, I just wouldn't take the risk, which would make me last longer, but you know, it wouldn't be like a fulfilling existence.
I feel like our locations help too. Cause like you guys might have a better chance if the apocalypse happened in like the winter, because maybe the zombies would freeze to death or they just wouldn't be active as much. You know?
Which, by the way, just a quick weather update on Minnesota. It was spring on Saturday.
Yeah.
It was winter on Sunday and Monday, and now today it's spring again. Like, I'm not even like exaggerating.
It was like 80, then snowstorm with snow on the ground, and now it's in the 50s.
I'm so jealous. It was 90 here yesterday, and pretty miserable.
Well, that'll be us in about 2 months.
You know, it's weird. It's mild here, and then yesterday it was all thunderstorms. Yeah, but now it's sunny and mild. It's like 70 here in Orlando.
It's great. It's funny. A podcast is supposed to be like professional speaking people, and we all are just reverting to talking about the weather.
Nothing more.
I feel in my bones that I would not last long in the apocalypse. Like I might go out on day one just to get it done with, because like I don't think
You're like my wife
to the zombie.
You're like my wife. She's like, if zombie apocalypse comes, I'm killing myself.
Yeah,
and
like
I'm like, what?
it's
I'm still here. I'm still
I
here.
don't know if I have the survival instinct, but I asked my wife what she thinks, and she said she thinks that I could make it a few months. I'm not really sure why or how. Like I'm good at writing and I'm good at, technology-based things, all of which will not help me in the apocalypse. My survival sense is just low. So I don't know. I just don't really want to deal with it, It seems like such a hassle. Zombies. It
just feels like a lot of work.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the stuff, the bad things that happen to people in zombie movies could have been avoided with basic common sense. So I feel like that immediately.
I don't know if you guys recognize this running thread of zombie fiction, but it's usually the humans that are the problem.
I don't like confrontation either, though. Like, so the second, if someone rolls up to my house and they want everything, I'm just going to give it to them. I'll say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. Like, I don't have any.
Wes will give it to you.
Yeah, exactly. Literally, I will give it all to you. What do you need? Just please leave me alone.
It's like I'm the real life DMX and give it to you all day.
I always tell myself, like in that situation, like I'd be like, yeah, come on in. Like, I actually, here, you take it. Like I would want to try to befriend them fakely.
Yeah.
And then turn on them. Oh. When they least expect it.
You are the villain.
Only if they come at me. Like I'm peaceful. But like, so if like a bad guy was to come,
like our parents didn't make it, we need food. You're gonna be like, yeah, come on in.
And then if a bad guy, no. Like if a bad guy was like, I'm here to take all your stuff, then or like I'm here to hurt somebody, and I'll be like, yeah, let's hurt people. We're on the same side.
Oh, you're saying you could be convinced to hurting?
No, I would fake it. I would make them think like, yeah, hurt people. I've been wanting to hurt people. And
Alex
then
gave us an inch and we all took a mile of like, so you're going full villain.
No.
Like, no.
I'd be like, yeah, I'm also a deviant. Let's kill things. And when they trust me, I take them out and save everyone.
Yeah,
with the portafilter.
Yeah, with the portafilter.
Yeah, as soon as they turn around, right in the back of the head with the portafilter.
Yeah.
And then what? Do you throw them out to get eaten?
You got cats. Cats eat like everything. Right?
Oh God.
They eat you when you die.
Jesus.
They're like pigs.
And answering Alex's final question, who in the group would become the crazy cult leader?
All of GI or this group?
Well, Marcus is the one who's surviving the longest. Charisma is there, Marcus, for sure. But I think by default, just you would last the longest. And
Alex is over here talking a little crazy.
He's already scheming. He's already got.
Who is?
You.
Oh.
I feel like I don't have the facial hair to be a cult leader. I feel like all the best ones got like long hair, beards. Like Kyle and Alex, you guys you got a great mustache too, Wes. You guys have a head start. I feel like that's like an unsung element of like what makes a good.
Yeah, there's no clean shaven cult leader.
Exactly, right? It's like you got to have some degree of like not caring about your appearance because you have your followers.
Thanks. So I don't care about my appearance. Thanks, Marcus. Thanks a lot. Really appreciate
going
it.
Through my head now, thinking of notable fictional and real life cult leaders, and I'm like, damn, Marcus.
All I can think of is Father from Far Cry 5 and Jared Leto, which are kind of the same person. So
Jared Leto's got the long hair. It's either long hair or beard or both.
I've got the long hair. I can't grow a beard to save my life, but
you could argue that Tom Cruise is a cult leader in some ways.
How?
A cool cult leader.
Because of I don't know if you've ever seen those videos of him speaking at Scientology conferences. They are unsettling.
Yeah, but he jumps out of airplanes too. He's cool.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I could be convinced to jump out of an airplane if Tom Cruise told me. So maybe that's a credit to his how convincing he is.
Yeah.
Hi.
Especially if he said like, "Hey, this will be in the next Mission Impossible." I'm like, "Yeah, I want to do that. You want to? Let's climb the Burj Khalifa together too." I don't know.
All right, let's do a few rapid fire questions and then get out of here. Kitty Daddy, would you recommend Dead Island 2 as a day one purchase at $70? Yes or no?
It took me 20 hours to roll credits. There's plenty of content afterward, and I had a good time killing zombies. If that sounds good to you, then Yeah, I'd say go for it.
Yeah, $70 it means a lot to different people.
That's true.
Exactly. Yeah.
Maybe Wes, you can speak to this better, but I've actually been impressed by how technically proficient it is. Like
I had
it feels
zero
solid.
bugs, zero crashes. I actually think it's a really like visually great looking game too. Like there are aspects of it where I'm like, this is a very stunning looking game. Like which I didn't necessarily expect. Yeah, I would say if Dead Island 2 sounds like what a game you'd enjoy, like go in knowing that like it's story light, you're there to kill a lot of zombies, then you're gonna have a great time, and I think you'll feel like you spent your money's well spent.
Cool. Daniel Tack, former GI editor, asks, on a scale of 1 to 10, how hype are you for Disney Speedstorm?
10. You can play as Elizabeth Swann, and there's a Pirates of the Caribbean level, so that's a 10. It's also why I'm going to stay away from this game when it comes to reviews, because I can't do it unbiased.
I played a bit. I probably played like 3 or 4 races, and the racing seems solid, but like the free to play stuff scares me in a big way. And I don't know. Maybe it's fine. You know, maybe when it comes out, it's pretty reasonable and it's good. But it's never not gonna rub me the wrong way. Where it's like, oh, I need like 3 types of currencies, and I'm leveling up different things, and like, so I'm wary of that. But aesthetically, it seems cool so far from what I played. Yeah.
Personally, I'm far more interested in Lego 2K Drive.
Same.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I'm a
That's
5.
Paid game though. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Not free to play.
Yeah. I guess I'm at a 5. I haven't seen enough of it. It looks fine. Is Max Goof a driver, like Goofy's son, or like Powerline? Any of the Goofy movie crew? Because that
Not yet, at least. I mean, they're still They announced like Figment, which is like an Epcot character, which kind of rules. Last
who's
week.
Figment?
We do have a new gameplay today episode of that. Me and Charles were checking it out. If you want to just see some gameplay.
Yeah. Go check it out.
Is it just Disney? They're not dipping into like Marvel or Star Wars?
Pixar's in there. I don't think Marvel and Star Wars are though.
Like if this is just going to be Disney Infinity, but Mario Kart, and if they're going to go that far with it, but
yeah. Well, the funny thing about that game is there was a fully featured kart racer where you could use every character, period, made by the people that made Sega All-Stars Racing. But it was kind of like hidden behind DLC. Like we visited that studio for the cover story back in the day, and they showed us that. And I think even at the time we were like, why don't you guys just release this as like a $50 standalone game? Like, like just call it Disney Kart Racing.
Dude, I'm sorry, but yeah, have you seen the screenshot of the Lego 2K Drive hamburger car that they were making?
No.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I mean it's in the promotional materials, but you know, I've only got so much time in my life for racing games, and my heart is kind of set on this Lego one.
I mean,
Wes played it.
It's good. It's gonna be good. The Lego stuff is especially cool. I don't know if you like building Legos from scratch and all that kind of stuff. I don't have that creative gene, so like I'm not too interested in that part of the game.
I'll share my creations with you.
Yeah, and I will gladly accept.
Assuming that's a thing.
That's going to be awesome. It is. And even if you don't like building Legos, the driving and the open world and the personality is a lot of fun.
Yeah, this hamburger car is making me hungry.
Me too. All right, last question. Derek in Discord writes, "Hey GI team, what is a game that you had low to medium expectations for that actually ended up becoming a favorite of yours? I like Dying Light and Left 4 Dead, but the initial trailers for Dead Island 1 didn't get me interested at all. It wasn't until I played it years later did I actually find how much fun it is."
I guess recently, even though I was intrigued by it, maybe Bayonetta Origins?
Sure, yeah.
It was kind of like maybe this will be okay. It's like I'm interested to see them do something different, and then that's in my top 10 of the year so far. Like it's really great. And then I guess
I feel like everyone that played it like loved it.
It's super good.
Yeah.
So that's I guess a recent one, and then I guess one from the past. I remember vividly 2016 Doom. Like, because remember that they were like the marketing cycle for that game wasn't super great, and then they didn't send out code in advance, which is sometimes a red flag. And remember, they showed the multiplayer stuff beforehand, or they did the beta or whatever it was. But I remember people being underwhelmed by that, and that is the weakest part of the game. But I remember playing that at launch and just being like, "Whoa! Like, why didn't this show better before? Like, this is fantastic. They should have showed just more of this stuff."
Too fast.
I think
a recent one for me actually was Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, that's a good one.
Ooh,
Which
yeah.
I was like, I don't know about this, but it really took like, I don't know, an hour or two where I was like, oh, I'm finishing this. This is great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still resent that E3 demo that we were all kind of like, I don't know about this game, because that was just not a great look at that game.
Yeah, and I don't even know in retrospect like what the thing that really sang for me were like the performances and the story, and it's like that's kind of tough to. I don't even know what I would have done differently from a marketing perspective. Not that it ever was my responsibility to come up with that. But.
Yeah, like I get what they were trying to do of like, hey, let's just show the thing that people associate with Guardians of the Galaxy, like the zaniness. But even then, there was like better zany moments in that game that they didn't show.
Yeah.
I think I was looking at my Steam library. I think probably for me it would either be Loop Hero. I was like, I don't know if that's for me. Like just looking at screenshots. Or Risk of Rain 2. I remember when that game first came out and I heard people talking about it. I was like, I don't know. Like it seems kind of weird and I don't know if this is what I'm about. And then just, fell in deep into that hole of Risk of Rain. So that'd probably be my answer.
I think mine would be Returnal, which, very competent studio. I just didn't really vibe with any of their games, and from what I gathered leading up to launch was like very arcadey, even though I did like the alien approach with the sci-fi and all that. And then I played it, and I'm trying to think off the top, it might be my favorite PS5 game, and I definitely think it's one of the best. Like it is a pretty phenomenal game with one of the coolest boss fights ever. Awesome world, great score. Like I don't even think I have any problems with that game really. Like it's just so good.
Yeah, that's a great answer because I was scared off by the rogue element of it. I was like, I don't know if I really want to do that. And I remember even on MinMax talking to Ben Hansen, who had played it a little bit. I asked him, I was like, do you think I would like this? And he, like knowing me well, which he knows my taste over the last 10 years, was like, I don't think you will. Like, I don't know. And I took that as a challenge for some reason. I don't know why. I think I also wanted a proper exclusive PlayStation 5 game, Right.
Yeah.
And I bought it, and it was my favorite game that year, like pretty easily. Like it's so great. Yeah, I really love that game.
I think Souls games like that. I think Dark Souls is a big one where I played Demon Souls at launch because it had some buzz and just dropped it so fast. I was like, this is way too hard. How do you expect to play and enjoy this? And then Dark Souls was where it clicked. And I only played it again because it was getting some buzz, and I was like, I guess I'll give this another try. And then that was the one where like, I see it now. Like this is fantastic.
I think I need to go back and play Demon Souls. I've only ever beaten Bloodborne and Elden Ring, and I've kind of been
remake's real good.
Yeah, I've been wanting.
Yeah, I loved it. It's obviously really hard, but I feel like it's one of the more approachable in like that genre of games. I almost said From Software.
In hindsight, it is. If you've played because I enjoyed it a lot more going back to the remake, having played Bloodborne and Sekiro and stuff, because it seems almost like rudimentary when you've done those ones. You're like, I can get through this now.
You're like literally picking a level and then like almost Crash Bandicoot style and loading into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Castlevania Lords of Shadow. That game's fantastic. And all 3D Castlevanias were various degrees of trash. And I remember like being like, I guess we'll try this again because I love Castlevania. And then being like, this is great.
Yeah, I love that game. So good.
It's awesome. Cool. Well, I think that'll do it for the show this week. If you enjoyed it and you're listening to the audio version, go and leave us a review. If you're watching the video, be sure to click the subscription button. Give us I don't know why I said that so weird. Subscribe to us on YouTube is what I'm trying to say. And like the video. That helps us out. And go and follow these gents again. And we'll talk to you next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.